few months now, we've been reading through Malfuzat of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. And today I want to read page 317 of volume 2 of Malfuzat. And in fact, in this, there is Hazrat Sahib has answered the objection, although it wasn't raised at his time in these words, about how someone can become Ibn Maryam and so on. Because if you follow Facebook and internet and so on, Pakistan is being extremely crude and uncivilized, to put it mildly, raise a lot of objections and they do caricatures of Hazrat Sahib and so on and so forth. So Hazrat Sahib has explained this in his own words. And whoever compiled this has given this the title, Two Examples of a True Believer. Hazrat Sahib says, in the Holy Quran, Allah has given two examples to explain what a true believer is. One example is that of the wife of Pharaoh, who wants God's protection against the excesses of such a husband. This is the example of those true believers who fall into their worldly desires and then they make mistakes and then they are sorry and then they repent and they seek God's protection for their errors or mistakes. Their self is like their husband, the Pharaoh. It troubles them. It troubles them to do the wrong thing. But they are ever inclined to make efforts to avoid the wrong thing. The other true believers are those who have a higher station or a higher status. They not only avoid the evil, they not only avoid bad things, but they also try and do good things. Their example is given by Allah, or God has compared them to Mary, Hazrat Maryam. And every true believer who achieves greatness in taqwa, in righteousness, and taharat, in purification, then as a buruz, as a reflection, he becomes Mary. He is Maryam. And then when that happens, God breathes into such a moment His Spirit. And then that person becomes Ibn Maryam. The commentator of the Holy Quran, the Makhshari, he has explained these verses of the Holy Quran in exactly this way. Because if we don't, then we have a problem. Because Hadith says that except for Mary and son of Mary, no one was safe from the touch of the Satan. So this then means that God forbid us for saying this, that all the prophets had a touch of Satan. But in this verse of the Holy Quran, there is, what is said is that every true believer, and remember Hazrat Sahib here is not talking about just Muslims, but people who went before. And this is why he gives the example of previous prophets. So what this verse says is that every true believer who achieves the pinnacle of perfection in righteousness and purification, then God's Spirit is breathed into him, and because he is already married, he then becomes Ibn Maryam, he becomes the son of Mary. So in these verses, they're actually prophecy that in this ummah, in this nation, the son of Mary will be born. It is a matter of astonishment for me that people name their children Muhammad and Isa and Musa and Yaqub and Ishaq or Ismail and Ibrahim, and they consider this to be perfectly lawful, but they don't consider it lawful for God to call someone else Isa or son of Mary. So I will end here. Those of you who might have been troubled by this frequently raised objection, those who follow the internet or Facebook and so on, will see these things. They can recite, they can give this reply, but they can also quote the verses of the Holy Quran where this is said. Thank you for joining us today for our broadcast. Um, we close today. Inshallah, we'll meet you at the same time for the Jummah khutbah prayers and the dars that talk that follows after the Jummah prayers next Friday at the same time. And as you would know, Ramadan is almost upon us, so I urge you to make the preparations for the coming Ramadan. And until then, I say Khuda Hafiz, Assalamu alaikum. May God keep all of you safe and sound.